Hello, hello. Hello, hi, Nick.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm hearing you okay, if that's what you're checking on.
Yes, yes, great, thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Stacey Ann, thanks for joining.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. How are you?
I am good. I'm going to turn on my video.
Oh yeah, we'll do that too.
So I know people have networking issues, so I'm going to ask everybody to turn on quickly and then turn off if they want to.
Yeah. Okay.
It's great to meet you.
Same here. I've been seeing a few of your posts on Instagram. Yeah, lovely meeting you. Glad to see the work that you're doing.
Oh, good, good, good. I am waiting. I know it's it's 4:30 now, right?
Yeah, it's 9:30.
9:30
p.m.
Oh, where are you?
I'm in Ireland.
Oh, you went back. Okay.
Oh, I didn't leave.
Oh, I thought you had left.
No.
Oh my gosh. For a minute there, I had a heart attack because I get confused with the time. So it's 10:30 here for me.
Okay, okay. I thought it was going to be, yeah, I thought it would have been 10:30 here. So
Okay.
oh, maybe because of maybe the clock change or something. 4:30, 5:30, 6:30. Okay, I don't even know. Where are you?
I am in Italy.
Oh, no, that makes sense. Okay. Okay, what do you do there?
So I used to work with FAO.
Okay, okay,
Cool. A consultant. Yes. So now I am just trying to acclimate and learn the language.
Yeah.
And do this. This is my project.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, Shiva. Where are you from? Can you?
Hello,
Hi.
namaste. It's from
Hello?
Nepal.
Oh, Nepal.
Hello.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's 3:30 morning. Good morning, everyone.
Oh, good morning, Shiva.
Good morning. Did I work with you? Because I worked in Nepal for 2 weeks.
It's first time I am joining this program.
Okay, great, great. Well, nice to have you. Nice to meet you. I think more people should be coming. I'm just going to wait a little bit more until more people come.
That's Mr. Brown joining. You have met Dehan, right?
Yes.
Okay. So he's my colleague, well, former colleague.
Okay, great, great. So Stacey, I can't wait to hear all about you and your work. And this is Women's Month, so I need to do a women in aquaculture. Caribbean women in aquaculture, Jamaican women in aquaculture. Hello, Dehan. Dehan, can you hear me? Don't be shy.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Brown.
Hello.
Great to have you on the networking tonight.
Is that Stacey?
Yes, it's Stacey.
This is what it's all about, getting us aquaculturists together. Good night, Auden. Or is it good afternoon? Where are you calling from? Don't be shy.
Oh, yeah, no. Okay, yes, good afternoon. Yes, Auden Patterson from Hill Run in St. Catherine.
Oh, great. Are you a tilapia farmer?
Yes, I'm a tilapia farmer and primarily producing fries for the farmers too.
Oh, great, great. Well, thank you for joining. I really am happy to see a tilapia farmer on.
Uh-huh.
I'm waiting
Yes,
for
it's
some
good.
more people to join before I start. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. So
Okay.
welcome to our very first aquaculture networking group.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So I hope this is going to be something to continue, more sustainable, you know, just to try to get people inspired and motivated in and networking in the knowledge of aquaculture.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I look forward to it.
great, great. Can everybody introduce themselves since it's just a few people until other people come on? Stacy?
Hi everyone, I'm Stacey Gray, former employee of the National Fisheries Authority in Jamaica. I am now in Ireland doing my PhD in aquaculture.
Great. Nick?
Hi, I'm Nick Reese, Nick Honor to be precise, but I just shorten it since people always mess it up. Act 6 verse 5.
Nicanor?
Yes. I'm a fish farmer. I'm familiar with Stacey and Mr. Brown. I farm out in Bushy Park, St. Catherine. I'm currently not in Jamaica right now, though. I'm actually in the US currently. But I do operate a 6-acre tilapia farm for about over 20 years now.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so I'm interested to hear, you know, what you guys have to present as it relates to diseases associated with aquaculture and so on, because my knowledge in that area is not very great, you know, given that we just grow for 6 months and get, you know, start a new cycle every time. So, but I'm actually an engineer by trade and training.
Okay.
With some work in aquaculture engineering as well.
Okay,
but,
great.
You know, definitely open to new knowledge.
Okay, wonderful. Dehan?
All right.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dehan Brown. I am with the National Fisheries Authority. I am the research officer there. And what's to say, I've been working in aquaculture for a while now, and I think I love the field.
Oh, that's the best thing. That's so important. I'm going to wait just 2 more minutes and then we get started. Auden, would you like to tell us about yourself?
Okay. Well, I'm in aquaculture now for 29 years.
Wow.
I worked with the Jamaica Agriculture Development Foundation for a couple of years, managing a farm that they had shares in, and then joined with other private individuals thereafter, and then for the past 12 years I'm on my own now, primarily doing production of fries.
Okay, okay. So I'm going to get started, and hopefully everybody that registered will come on. I am Julianne Russo, and I'm an aquaculture scientist. I specialize in nutrition, feed management, and disease prevention. I have been in this industry for over 20 years, and I've worked in various capacities within academia. I've worked in the food manufacturing industry. I was a farm manager before I went off to do my master's and PhD. So I have started out at the level as a farmer and moved up over the years into different industries. And my last 6 years, I've been a consultant for various NGOs like USAID. And my last position, I was a biosecurity consultant for the Food and Agricultural Organization here in Rome. So I currently live in Italy, and hence it's 10:40 here, so it's quite a bit late. So why is it that I wanted to start a network? So just quickly, briefly, I really felt the need to start a network for Jamaica and the Caribbean, because while I was working at FAO, I noticed a lot of attention is being placed on Africa and Asia, and not as much in the Caribbean. And as a Jamaican, the only Jamaican at the table, I used to wonder why, especially since in the 70s and 80s, Jamaica was doing so well with tilapia, and in the 90s with ornamental fish industry. And over the years, it's just seemed to have gone down. So hi, Pearson, thanks for coming. So I just being, during lockdown 2020 and being here 2021, I really felt the need to connect. I used to go to Jamaica regularly, and I haven't been there since 2018. And I wanted to connect with my fellow Jamaicans and find out what was happening. So I started these random IG conversations on Instagram with my colleagues, scientists, farmers, and you can see all of these conversations on YouTube because I put it on a YouTube channel. And one of the connecting thing was that we needed some sort of a network to inspire, to motivate, and to get more people talking about aquaculture and fish farming and aquatic foods. So after talking for the last year, here it is, this is where we're at, and I'm really excited to have you all join us and sign up for future talks. I'm trying to get my colleagues and various scientists and people that I've met over the years to give a talk. And so with that, with tonight, my first speaker is Dr. Riccardo Russo. We share the same last name. Yes, for a reason, we are married. He's in the other room. And Riccardo and I have been coming to Jamaica. We came to Jamaica and several times working as a team, working with the fish farmers. So Riccardo is no stranger to Jamaica. And so I wanted to introduce you to him. I'm going to tell you all the things that I don't normally tell him. So he has extensive experience in the diagnostics of freshwater diseases. He has spent his years as a research scientist developing vaccines for fish, and was the director of a biocontainment lab, a BSL-3 facility, which is a research facility for scientists doing research on infectious diseases. Riccardo, you can correct me, please. So for this month of March, every month I'm trying to have a theme and a topic for people to learn. So this month is fish health. And with that, I'm going to turn you over to Dr. Russo.
Hi, can you hear me well? Hello?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay. Hi, it's nice to be here. As Julie was introducing me, I've been working in aquaculture, especially in aquatic animal health, fish diagnostic for several years. And then I've been working for the past, for 10 years, I was directing biosafety level 3 laboratories where we work also with, especially with human disease. And it's very important in that aspect. We work with high security, high threat pathogens, so with the coronavirus, other tuberculosis, other virus, bacteria. And there, besides doing a lot of research, one of major aspects was also the biosafety, clearly to work with this pathogen in a safe way, but at the same time avoid the escape of these pathogens and same not bring other contaminant, other pathogen inside. And in some way, it's one of the important aspects in aquaculture, in farming fish. I would say even more than in human disease, because in the human medicine field, because in aquaculture, as you well know, there are less drugs that can be used, or there are no drugs really for some pathogens. So we have a less opportunity to fight an outbreak, an infection. So this is very important, the preventing disease. And we'll look a moment, a few things to this night. And at this point, you know, with the last couple of years, with what has happened in the world with this coronavirus outbreak, we have, you have heard a lot, or we have heard a lot about, you know, prevention or containment of the disease. And as you've seen with the coronavirus, has been difficult to contain, has been spreading around. And why is the major problem? There have been other outbreaks of serious pathogen for humans. If you remember, a few years ago, there was Ebola in Africa. Really, there are other outbreaks every now and then in Africa. There was the SARS, the first SARS in a few years ago. But what was the difference why we didn't have such outbreak like the current coronavirus? They were able to contain the spreading of the disease right away. And that is an important factor, especially for fish culture. It's the same sort of concept. And again, like we say, we have a less treatment for fish. So that is why it's important to prevent or contain at the beginning a disease outbreak. Speaking a moment of example that touch aquaculture, if you remember, there were several years ago, they're speaking now of maybe 15 years ago, the shrimp industry worldwide had a huge impact by the white spot virus, where there were entire country where their shrimp production crashed because they had this virus that start to spread. So that it tells you how important it is to try to prevent and especially to try to prevent of bringing new pathogen inside the facility, but especially like, for example, a situation like Jamaica or other island, Caribbean or other country, you want to avoid to bring disease inside the country and avoid that they spread, because once these pathogens, so viruses, bacteria, start to spread around, is difficult to contain them. And there is a lot, if you think in livestock, so cattle, poultry, there is a lot of these containment and biocontainment. What is, I'll show you something in a shortly presentation so we can discuss better. But for this, it's important to know one of the major factors is there are different levels how you contain the introduction and the spreading of disease. Certainly is the facility where how you handle the fish. For this, we speak about quarantine facility, so it's a different spot where you keep the fish. But another major important thing is to know the health status of what you're importing. From where are you importing? There are fish, country, area, geographical area where it's known there are some disease. So you want to avoid to import animals from that area. And you want to know when the fish have a come that are healthy. Again, we go back for livestock. For a lot of livestock, especially from some country, you needed to have a health certificate to be able to import some of these animals, because you want to be sure that they are not importing disease. So one of the first things is clearly do not buy and import fish from wherever. Is to make sure that you are importing the fish from a safe, healthy area. And then it's not healthy area, depends also how they are raised, the fish. From the farm, if they are raised in a healthy condition, no, how, and then from there, how they've been prepared to be shipped, because a lot of time the shipping is clearly is a stressful moment. So if the fish, for example, are overcrowded, or their water quality is not kept well, and we go shortly on that, and maybe we can talk another time more in depth about water quality. That is a sort of stress that will make the fish sick, and then you have a break. If you think it's a sort of like with us, it's classical when there are cold weather, especially a big drop of temperature, people get sick. It's not that that few days there is a disease or some pathogen going around. It's just that our immune system gets lowered, gets weaker, so the bacteria, virus that were already present in the environment are able to establish an infection in our body. Is a big problem if you think of people that get, for example, in evaporation. A lot of people get infection on that case because they are under anti-immunostimulant, for example, immunodepressant medicine. So the same fish, the moment they are stressed, they are more vulnerable to get sick. So for this is the first thing to know from where you're getting the fish, how they're kept. Second, how, so it's difficult for in the aquaculture industry to really have a health certificate like happened for livestock, but at least try to have as many information and also have a knowledge about that farm, how they're transported. The other things is to keep the fish when they arrive in quarantine area. And again, you have a good understanding now with this coronavirus outbreak. Quarantine, it must be area that where is very well separed from your farm, from where the other fish. You see with this COVID, if people are sick or not kept isolated correctly, the disease spread very quickly. Similar with fish, it can happen like that. So the idea is to have a separate facility from where you raise the fish. And that is the same facility that you can have, for example, to treat sick fish. So you clearly wanted to divide the area where you are quarantining fish from where you are treating fish that are sick. There are several ways, and we can be talking. So I would like, let me stop myself. I also do this to be also more a discussion than just I'm speaking and presenting. So it will be more interesting. I think for all of us, it's more a discussion, and you have a question. So just feel free to stop me. So there is an area, the quarantine is like you have seen, like for example, in the now with the coronavirus in the hospital, where you were particular close. Clearly, in this case, we don't need to wear mask to work with the fish. But if the fish are sick, it's important, especially if the fish are sick, so you're treating, or in any case, any fish coming that you have to treat as possible as is sick, you want, I don't say you have to need to wear gloves, but you clearly you want to wash well your hands before you come out. We have is used in a lot of aquaculture facility where you have a foot bath when you come out of the facility, where you stamp your feet, your shoes with the disinfectant. So it's a foot bath with the disinfectant. Really, ideally, it's even better, and I think it's easier to have a change of shoes of boots. So you have some boots that you use particularly for that facility. And why? Because this foot bath, you need to make sure, yes, you have a disinfectant, but you need to make sure that you are changing every day, that you are stepping correctly. And I can tell you, I saw, I don't know how many times, you put a foot bath and you will see people will try to step avoiding the foot bath in all the different ways. So ideally, it's better to have clothes and especially shoes to use inside that quarantine area, quarantine facility, have nets, equipment that you use only there. Again, ideally, you want in your farm, your operation, have somebody to work only in that facility. again, a lot of time is not feasible. It's not possible because you don't have enough people or you have a small farm. So what you want to do is, for sure, is work first in your farm and then go to the quarantine facility. So at the end of the day, so in this way you don't avoid to get a virus, a bacteria, something to bring back to your fish. And that happened. That is really happen a lot of time. So for this, a lot of you will see, for example, going back to livestock, they will ask that you don't go to farms for maybe 1-2 days before you visit some farms, because under your shoes, on your body, you can carry some of these pathogens. Another important feature, and it's something that sometimes you don't think, is that, okay, I have a this nice facility with all the equipment that are used only for this facility. The people will go only to work in this facility, but that could be not enough to avoid the spreading and the release of the pathogen from that area. Why? Is how you design the facility. And as I'm sure all of you, if you have worked, visited, worked for a while in aquaculture facility, I've seen bugs going around. You have a lot of insects, lizards, frogs, depending on the place you are. Where you work with ponds, you have birds. You can have like snakes moving around. So those can be vehicle for pathogen to, so for pathogen, I mean bacteria, virus, to spread from your quarantine facility to other place. So for this, you need to be a facility that is closed and well sealed. That is not uncommon. Like if you know, there are some of the disease of the fish, some of the parasites of fish that they need another host. So there are some of the that they go, for example, from snails to the fish, or from snails to birds and to the fish. And really, there are the same for humans, some of these parasites. So having a fish you can have, for example, a bird that go from pond to pond, can also import this parasite. You can just go, if you imagine a fish go in a pond, gets wet. So if there are bacteria, virus, other stuff in this, they will get on their feathers, go in the next pond and bring them. So you can imagine if you start to go to the pond, or the small bird that go in your facility where you have a quarantine, and maybe you have an outbreak of a disease. So all aspects that is important to consider. So before going forward, do you have any question, any comment, anything you want to share? Or everybody's fell asleep?
No. Welcome everybody who just joined in. Thank you for coming. I don't know, can you just quickly take off your video? I mean, this is a networking event and you can turn it back off, but just, just to get to know everybody, is it possible that you can just quickly just turn off your video to say hi, or turn on your video to say hi? Don't be shy. Thank you. Hi, Abraham. Abraham is from Zambia. He's joining us all the way from Zambia. And Shiva is from Nepal. Hi, Shiva. And Stacyan is joining us from Ireland. And so we have people from Jamaica, US, and everywhere else. So thank you for joining us. Anybody have any questions? So this is a networking event. So the topic tonight is about quarantine and fish health, and just trying to be more, if you're trying to import fish, or you have fish that are sick, how do you take care of your fish? So anybody have any questions? Hi, Riccardo.
Hi, Riccardo.
Okay, so no questions.
Okay, continue. And again, feel free to stop, and because I think it's more constructive if we have a discussion more than just one way speaking. And again, as Julie mentioned, I worked several times. I came down in Jamaica to work with fish farmer. I also came to Nepal for a couple of weeks. So I like to also keep more something that it can be useful for you, more practical. So I'll start to present a presentation, but again, it's just a point to talk. And again, if you have any discussion, any question, just a second. Let me see if I manage. Julie, I think I cannot share my screen.
Okay.
Do you know?
Okay, try now.
Okay, do you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, and do you see the slide or as the presentation?
We see the presentation.
Okay. So we again, I will go a moment on few. Sorry, because okay. We discussed some of the aspect again, topics that we can talk. So is as we. Sorry, I have to computer one with the presentation. So like we say, quarantine is extremely important when you are importing new fish. And again, it could be also a facility where you want to hold your fish when they're sick. It doesn't need to be big. And I'll show you some example at the end. But clearly it's important how you design it. The first thing is
sorry, Riccardo, we have one question.
Yeah.
Nick, what is your question?
Hi, I just wanted to kind of, based on the discussion that that Riccardo is presenting, me being just like a regular fish farmer, so we don't really import. Well, I have not really imported any new breed stock from overseas and so on. But I think it would be good for us to be able to at least highlight one or two of the major diseases that could possibly impact us as a fish farmer, and how we would identify it, and so that if we encounter any kind of situation, we will at least be somewhat aware of what to look for. You have outlined some of the preventative steps, in terms of preventing the disease to come onto the property. But I think it would be good to know at least what to identify. One or two are the main ones then that could possibly affect primarily maybe tilapia or some other aquacultural product.
Okay, so I want to respond to that. So we don't have a lot of time. So the whole purpose of these networking meetings and for the future is that we're going to be, I'd love to hear your questions. I need you to send me in your questions, what it is that is relevant to you and what we're going to be talking about. So next week, I don't know if you're on my mailing list, I'm going to send you the link. We will be having Dr. Paula Barato. She is going to be talking about tilapia lake virus disease, which is an emerging disease that's coming, that is on the other side of the world, Africa, Asia. It's not really known in Jamaica as yet, or hopefully not. So we will be talking about fish diseases and listing off the diseases in the future. So that's why I needed to get onto the network list and know about the upcoming events so that you can learn more.
Also to answer you, Nick, like Julie say, we could have another talk, maybe we'll see with Julie in a couple of weeks, where we can go on in the detail of some specific disease. And maybe since one of the major things is how, like you asked, how to do a diagnosis of fish. and there you need to do a necropsy and look on a microscope. Maybe if Julie, you want, we could organize one day, one of the sessions to give you a brief overview how to do a necropsy. So what to see, what are the basic equipment that you need. We did like a video on doing necropsy of fish, so we can show more about you this video, but it's important to have maybe a meeting we can talk about that. In any case, you have our contact, mine and Julie, so we can always send anybody of you. You can always contact us, and we can discuss something one-to-one. But you touch something that is really important, is how to do a diagnostic. So that can be a bit tricky. There is a bit of training, but again, it's something we can look. One thing is important to consider that is also related also on importing fish and in quarantine. I worked for several years, like at University of Florida, doing their diagnostic laboratory, where we get fish from all around the farmers. So we're mostly ornamental fish, but also freshwater and marine food fish. So also we had the tilapia, freshwater. I work also at the Arbor Branch Oceanography Institute. And I can tell you, most 70% of the cases of when you had the fish disease outbreak, it was due to fish got stress first. Their immune system went down, and then they got sick. So, as you mentioned, it's important that the prevention, especially on disease, how you raise the fish under not stress situation. And going back again, I was doing you the I mentioned before that example when it's cold. When it's cold, we are fine. You get a day that the temperature drop like 20 degrees, 30 degrees, and you get sick. Why? It's not because before there were no virus around, but your body got sick. And one of the major really source of stress for the fish is the water quality. So important is to keep a good water quality, nutrition, what you eat. And again, think human, I'm trying to make it simple, easier. For example, water quality. Imagine for us would be sort of similar to hair. Imagine staying in a nice environment in the countryside, or you are in a highly polluted city. There was a few months ago, there was a huge problem in India, in some of the cities in India that were the pollution was so high that told people not to go out. What happened? People got sick in their lungs because the chemicals irritate you. The similar things happen when you have bad water quality. We can see tonight on one of the next event some of the chemicals, and how is easy to check really for water quality, how they can affect the fish. And again, sorry. So what is important, the water quality? So it's more the prevention. The similar in nutrition. If you think again, going back a human, how many times you hear people getting sick because of what they eat? Simple, diabetes can be genetic, but also a lot of it is due to the diet. People that eat too much calories, fat, they start to have problems, and health problem. Similar with fish. So if you don't give the right nutrition, also the question with the nutrition is not only the quality of the food and the content, but if you feed the fish too much, you pollute their water, that will make them sick. So it's also how crowded do you keep the fish harvesting? How, for example, one source clearly of stress is when you harvest the fish. So if you have fish in a pond, better is to try to harvest the entire pond, or harvest the pond once or twice, not go several times and put net to try to harvest part of the fish, because every time you go, you create stress for the fish that can be then source of an outbreak. If you think, if you notice, a lot of time you get outbreak of disease in fish when there is a big variation in temperature, so especially dropping temperatures, or even increasing temperature. What happens with the increasing of temperature, when the water is in temperature go high and is overcrowded, you don't have a good aeration field system. The oxygen level, especially in ponds, this happens mainly in ponds, really. The oxygen level go down during nighttime, and you have key fish that get or they die or get stressed and get more susceptible to disease, and especially in this case parasite or bacteria. So going back at the major disease for fish, Nick, what type of fish and system do you use? Is it like tanks or ponds? Hello, Nick.
Yes, ponds, earthen ponds.
Okay. So for example, ponds you have a lot of invertebrate stuff, so there is a lot of protozoa, parasite. And again, we'll try, I'll talk with Julie, we can organize another talk, another this evening, where we go on some major parasite, some major disease quickly, and again, how to diagnostic. That is about sort of easy to do a diagnosis, but needed to do how to do. So what happened is some of these parasites is a sort of like things like the flea in the cats, right? They have flea, the ticks, that clearly are not flea ticks, are other organisms, but it's the same. So imagine an animal, it can happen like with any cats, if it is completely infested with flea and ticks, it gets sick, right? And ticks can bring disease too. So when the fish gets, especially when you have a drop in temperature, you will see you start to have disease and outbreaks. The fish gets weaker. These parasites that were always there in the pond. When the fish is healthy, the DM were able to really cause a disease. When the fish instead get weak, they are able to overcome and create a disease. And we can see next time. The second group is mostly bacteria. And then again, you have some, you can diagnose some of these bacteria because you see a species, hemorrhagic area. Some of these bacteria can cause like a Romonas, ulcers, big hemorrhagic area, but it's not only a symptom for bacteria, unfortunately. And again, usually it's during disease is when the fish gets sick. And as you say, stress mostly. Some bacteria, even on healthy fish, they are all well, they can infect them. So it all depends. There are several bacteria that can infect. And a lot of time can be a secondary infection due to the presence of parasite, because the parasite create laceration, like how you say, cuts on the body, and there the bacteria are able then to infect the animal, the fish. Again, there are and then we can discuss, because there are different treatments you can use for different bacteria or parasite. Some you can't. Worse are virus. Then you have a third category, are virus, and there are no, for most of the viruses, there is no treatment. It's the same for human, if you think. Flu, we don't have a real medicine that kills the flu virus, help to decrease the symptoms. Similar with COVID, is help to decrease the symptom, overcome the infection, but it's not viruses are more difficult to treat. Some we are able to treat, but for fish, no. And then a fourth category are parasites like Acanthocytes, worms, almins. Out of that, those you get more in ponds than in tanks inside because they require other animals like birds, snails, reptiles to finish their life cycle. And again, we can discuss this more in detail in the next topic, or maybe you can contact us and we can go over, and especially we can give you a brief overview how to do a diagnostic of fish. And I see there is a chat. Okay. Okay. So let me just bit jump. So how I was saying, the important is for fish, especially for fish, and again, it's like with human, is especially to prevent disease. So handle the fish correctly, raise the fish correctly, and the water quality. So keeping a good water quality. We'll go moment this time. We just mentioned some of the major parameters. Then we'll go in depth maybe another time. And also the clearly the feed, like we say. So I'm trying to go over. I'll jump so to try to talk to you more in detail or something. Okay, for example, going back to quarantine, where a facility where you can treat fish. This was a storage room that we had, but you see in the picture, it's all with cement, so it's well sealed from outside. And we converted this storage room in a sort of quarantine facility. This was used also to do research. When we was developing some vaccine against strep ine. So for example, tilapia, you have a strep ine, aromonas, that are two important bacterial disease for tilapia. And if you think we were able to design this facility and I was working with developing vaccine challenging fish, and this was next to a big farm that we had at the time there, University of Florida, where we had the greenhouse ponds. Never had in 4 years any release of pathogen from here. So you see, the important is like a storage room, so like built with bricks, so it's well sealed from outside, and you have a simple systems. You see the fish tank where they go. Let me see. Here is a view, for example. I said in this case was they had this was more for aquaculture fish, but clearly you can build similar system for tilapia or other. And again, you don't need it to import from country, but sorry. But also if you are importing fish from another farm, that is the important things to consider. Importing doesn't mean that it has to come from another country. Okay, going back to some of the concepts you are asking, for example, water quality. The major, like I was saying, the major number of cases we had when I was working in the diagnostic laboratory, where we get again, where we were getting sick fish from farms, it was always due to water quality and stress. So water quality, again, temperature, big, especially winter time, big drops in temperature that were often followed by fish that got sick. The other problem, it was nitrite and ammonia. So ammonium nitrate, and again, maybe we'll go more in detail another time, are all product of decomposition of organic material and what fish release probably their urine, and what is in our urine in mammals is ammonia. So it's a different chemical formula for ammonium, nitrogen, or waste. And those are odorless, colorless, so you cannot see or smell, but they are extremely toxic to fish. So for there, you need to make sure that in your, even in ponds, you need to test ammonia at least once a day, twice a week minimum, but you need to make sure, because you cannot see and realize if there is a high ammonia or high nitrogen on nitrite or nitrate, because and those can be very toxic. Or before they became toxic, there's a high level of ammonia can kill the fish. Even lower level, when it cannot kill the fish, will make them sick. And we can look, and again, in another talk, some also the symptom of the fish can have. And again, you can have this, you see on the top of the right of the slide, this reader, where you add this chemical that are drops and change it based on the color. You're able to see what is the ammonia or the pH is another important factor. Tilapia not too much, it's a bit more hard fish, except if you have like water that for some reason is very acid, but that is you have so I would say ammonia, pH, nitrite, and nitrate is the important factor.
Okay, so Riccardo, sorry,
Yeah.
I have to stop you there.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot to talk about, so we just have a few more minutes. If anyone has any questions on quarantine facilities or anything to do with the quarantine facility, any questions?
Doc, I have a question. Abraham here.
hi Abram.
Hello.
You can call me Riccardo.
My question is mostly here in, for instance, where I am, we are dealing with the farmers who do not, small scale farmers, because there are many compared to commercial farmers. Commercial farmers are quite few, but most of the people are doing small scale fish farming. And these are local people who do not have the capacity to buy equipment that would be used perhaps to determine water parameters. Would there be any other method one would use in an event that they do not have the equipment in terms of water quality? Just a basic maybe knowledge that one can use around with these small scale farmers. Thank you.
No problem. Abram, from where you are, where are you, from which country?
No, I am here in Zambia. I work for the government, and I work with extension. I do extension work, so I am exposed to small scale farmers.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I understand your point, because it's always the same when with small scale it's more difficult to have this. So one is possible. The clearly ammonia is the one test that should be done, and they are not very expensive. Let me see. Because there are some chemicals, and then if you contact us, we can give you some idea. Some tests that are not very expensive can be used. For sure, again, ammonia, you cannot look at the water and say, oh, there is high ammonia or not. But there are, yes, way how you culture the fish to try to make sure that is as the water quality, at least open, that is better than as possible. And is the type of, depend the exchange of water that you have in the pond, the density of the fish. Like for example, some pond, if you have small phytoplankton or small other, can help to break down some of the nutrients. So what I would advise, maybe if you have a more, we could talk one-to-one or with Julie to go over some of the pointers to give you some advice. And if you want, again, I think in the flyer there is our email, but here there are sorry, this is
that's not my email. So I think everybody has my email.
Okay, sorry. That's it. But you can contact me at this email, Riccardo with 2C, or you can see the LinkedIn and you can connect. But there are, yes, we can give you some tips to try to help the farmer to have an idea. And again, it's one of the things that we can discuss one of the next meeting. One of the way to diagnostic really disease, easier way, one of the first key, you see how the fish behave. So if you start to notice the fish doesn't eat, they breathe very fast, they start to swim less, be more lethargic, more on the bottom or more on the surface, already give you some idea there is something in the pond or in the tank that is not right. Clearly, you would like to prevent, even avoid it to reach that level when you start to see fish behaving badly. But there are, yes, way to manage the pond and the facility to decrease the opportunity of disease and decrease the opportunity with the health of the fish and the water quality. And again, when we worked in Jamaica, we worked with a lot of farmers that were, again, having few capacity and knowledge. When we went in Nepal, it was the same. We went in a rural area where they had the ponds, so they didn't have really instrument, they didn't have these water quality measure, but the pH in reality, the ammonia test is now it should be relatively easy to find. I don't know, maybe in Zambia, and it's not too expensive, but there is other tips that we can give you to try to avoid that, to try to help for that under that aspect.
So we have 2 more minutes. Riccardo, can you close your presentation?
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank everybody for coming. And if you could subscribe to our YouTube, subscribe to our email list. I am working on presentations for the next couple of months. Next week, we're going to have tilapia lake virus, which is an emerging disease. And then the following week, we're going to have somebody from Spring Genetics, who is going to be talking about the genetics of tilapia. And April, we're lining up. So please send in your questions. What are the topics that you are looking for? Please ask your colleagues, share the information with your colleagues to come on and join our network and I'm looking for your suggestions, how to make it more lively, how to make it more interesting, to inspire and motivate everybody into aquaculture and to bring back the aquaculture sector in Jamaica and the Caribbean. So any last words before we go? Anybody want to say anything? Please, guys, don't be shy. It's a networking event. I know you have your videos off. Maybe you can turn it on for just one last time to say goodbye. That would be great. Thanks, Abraham. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stacy. And Stacy's gonna come on. Thanks, Shiva. I hope you learned a lot, and I'd love to hear more about what you do in Nepal. Okay, so I'm going to share everybody's contact information. If you don't mind, can you put your contact information in the chat before I go? So that, hi, Raleigh. Thanks for coming on. Can you put, if you don't mind and you'd like everybody to keep in contact with you, can you put your information in the chat and where you're from before I sign off so that we will have this information? So please put in your email and where you're from in the chat. This was great. I'm so excited to see so many people from around the world. And maybe next time we'll have some music. I don't know. Can you tell me what kind of networking you'd like to have? Should it be strictly science, discussion about aquaculture? Please help me to make it a very interesting event for everybody. That would be fantastic. Has everybody gotten it? So I will be, this is recorded and I'll be sharing the recording and the chat. Thank you so much, Riccardo, for your presentation. Riccardo has a wealth of knowledge. Please reach out to him. Trust me, he knows a lot and he has a lot to share. So thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it and have a wonderful evening.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. And
Bye.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye.